कवयोऽपि हि न हि यस्य कर्हिचिद्राजन् पुमान् वेदा विदित्सिताम् यद्विजिज्ञासया युक्ता मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपि हि न हि यस्य कर्हिचिद्राजन् पुमान् वेदा विदित्सिताम् यद्विजिज्ञासया युक्ता मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपि हि. Na, never, he, certainly, asya, his, karhichit, whatsoever, rajan, O king, puman, anyone, veda, knows, viditsitam, plan, yat, which, vijijñāsaya, with exhaustive inquiries, yuktaha, being engaged, muhyanti, bewildered, kavayaha, great philosophers, api, even, he, certainly. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Please repeat the translation. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The bewilderment of Maharaj Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant sufferings is completely negated by the great authority Bhishma, one of the 12 authorized persons. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is to simply abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhishma Deva was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhishma could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because the Lord wanted to show that vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless of who tries to execute it. Bhishma Deva was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side. Doesn't see Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Uste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadara Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here, in the last few verses, the plan of the Lord or will of the Lord was communicated as a concept. So what should we conclude from this discussion between Bhishma and Yudhishthira? So Bhishma concludes finally by saying inevitable time represents Lord's plan. So everything happens by the will of the Lord. So Kala executes the will of the Lord. So in conclusion, that's what he said. Nahi yasya karhichit rajan. Oh my dear king, nahi asya karhichid. Nobody can understand. Puman Veda Viditsitam. Puman, a person, Vedaha can never know Viditsitam, the plan of the Lord. Yet Vijijñāsaya Yukta, even though with exhaustive inquiries, Muhyanti Kavayopihi, even great philosophers, great sages, Kavayaha, even with their exhaustive inquiries, they will never be able to understand the plan of the Lord. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, this dispels the bewilderment of Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is trying to understand his own past actions and sufferings. So generally people, we all have the experience, we suffer or enjoy based on our karma. And Pandavas had suffered for a long time, not once, many instances. So people can ascertain, so we are suffering because of our bad karma. So Pandavas are also suffering because of their bad karma. So Prabhupada is clarifying, no, they are all pure devotees. So they are not suffering based on their bad karma. This is the will of the Lord. He wants to set an example. By making his devotees suffer for a temporary situation, he wanted to bring the glory of the devotees. So Lord's plan was to show the conquest of virtue over vice. The truth prevails over bad. Good prevails over bad. So even great warrior like Bhishma Deva cannot win on the wrong side. So Bhishma Deva is the greatest warrior, and it is said that he alone was capable enough. That's why the war went on for 10 days. The Pandavas were not able to even proceed further in the war. For 9 days, Bhishma Deva was holding on to the opposite camp. So Yudhishthira Maharaj became very depressed. He went to Lord Krishna and said, see, Bhishma Deva only we could not conquer. Now it's already 10th day. Tomorrow it will be 10th day. Then what to speak of other generals? Karna is there, Duryodhana was there, Dronacharya is there. So we are losing hope that we will be able to win in this perspective. And we have lost so much of our army. They said that one day itself, Bhishma Deva, there was one circumstance we all know. Bhishma Deva and Duryodhana. One day Duryodhana came to Bhishma and said, you are not acting, you are not fighting vigorously. You are showing compassionate on your dear grandsons. Bhishma Deva said, no, I am equal to everyone. The war, it is enemies, but outside they are my grandsons. But Duryodhana was very adamant. He was saying, no, you are not acting properly. Or else you are the greatest warrior. We should have won the war long before. So when Bhishma was incited about his capabilities, then Bhishma promised Duryodhana, tomorrow morning I am going to kill all the 5 brothers with these 5 arrows. So Duryodhana was very happy. So then, because he also knew about Krishna's position, he said, if I cannot kill these 5 brothers, if Krishna protects them, so I'll see that Krishna breaks his vow. Krishna had made a promise before the war that he will not touch a weapon. No, not after this, but first he promised all the 5 brothers. So Duryodhana became very happy. He said, give that 5 arrows with me. Tomorrow morning I'll deliver you in the battlefield. Because night, what might happen? We cannot never trust Krishna. That's what he said. We can never understand the plan of the Lord. So Krishna also understood the situation that tomorrow there is a great danger. All the 5 brothers are at risk. So he informed Arjuna, see, long back Duryodhana had promised you that he will give you a benediction because you had helped him in rescuing them from the Gandharva's attack in Dvaitavana. So that day you had not encashed that opportunity. Today you go and Duryodhana is having that 5 arrows, get that 5 arrows. So Arjuna went. So Duryodhana received him very nicely, cordially. He said, my dear brother, what do you want? Do you want me to stop this war? Do you want to give me back this kingdom? Arjuna said, no, nothing I don't want. So he had promised me one opportunity that day when I had saved. Do you remember? Yes, I remember. What do you want? He said, yes, give that 5 arrows. Because Kshatriyas, they go by commitment. Duryodhana, without any thinking, he gave the 5 arrows. So Arjuna came back. Next day morning, in the battlefield, Bhishma was asking Duryodhana, where are the 5 arrows? Now Duryodhana is blank. So Bhishma could understand this is all the plan of Krishna. So he made a vow. Today, either Arjuna has to die or his dear friend Krishna has to capture a weapon. These two things, anyone should happen. Either Arjuna has to die or Krishna has to break his vow. It is said that Bhishma had fought severely in that day, that almost more than 1 plus Akshohani of Pandava's army was wiped out that day. Bhishma alone killed 1 plus Akshohani army on that day. So that was last moment. Arjuna was almost lost with all his capacities. Everything was destroyed. Arjuna's chariot was destroyed almost. He was about to be killed. Then, seeing the situation, Krishna thought, my devotees' words have to be kept intact. My words doesn't matter because I am known for not keeping my word. So, he took up the chariot of the wheel and he rushed towards Bhishma Deva. And Bhishma Deva, when he saw Lord was coming forward to kill him, Bhishma also said, oh my dear Lord, please come. And he left all his weapons and everything. And Arjuna is pleading there, holding on to Krishna's feet. For my purpose, do not break your vow. Please drop this weapon. In that way, it was going on. Finally, the day ended, the conch shell blew, sunset. Now, since Krishna had lifted that weapon, it has to be thrown away somewhere. So, he hurled it and threw it. And you know where did it fall? Ekachakra, where Nityananda Prabhu will take birth. So, everything by the will of the Lord. So, here, in the context here, that's what Krishna says. Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranishyati. He is saying, oh Arjuna, you declare to the world, my devotee never perishes. Because if Krishna makes a promise, there is every opportunity that he may not stick on to the promise. But if a devotee gives a commitment, Krishna is 100% has to execute that commitment. So that's why he is asking Arjuna, you declare to the whole world. Because my devotee's commitment, I will continue, I'll compulsorily adhere to it. So, will of the Lord is in the form of execution of time, Kala Chakra. So, Bhagavatam also enumerates this perspective of Kala Chakra. In the Bhagavatam, it says, in this purport only one point is said. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. So, whatever it is sanctioned, but just follow the will of the Lord. This is the simple principle for us to become successful in this material world. Then the 5th canto, while explaining about various perspectives of Lord's qualities, this explains about the will of the Lord, Kala Chakra, it says, Kadachid Ishwarasya Bhagavato Vishnu Chakrat Paramanu Adi Dvi Parardha Apavargha Kalopa Lakshanat Parivartitena Vayasa Ramhasa Harata Abrahma Truna Sambhadinam Bhutanam Animishato Mishitam Vitrashta Hradayastam Eveshwaram Kala Chakras Nijayudam Sakshat Bhagavantam Yajna Purusham Anadrutya Pakanda Devataha Kanka Gruta Bhaka Vata Praya Arya Samaya Parihritaha Sanketyana Abhidhatte. It's a continuous words, it's not in a systematic way, it is like poetry and prose. Poetry will be in a verse format. This is in a prose format. This is not in a continuous verse. So it says, Ishwarasya Bhagavato Vishnu Chakra. There is one Sudarshan Chakra which belongs to Lord Krishna's personal weapon. This is also called as Hari Chakra. This is called as Wheel of Time. This chakra is called as Wheel of Time. Sudarshan Chakra is called as Wheel of Time. Paramanu Adi Dviparardha Apavargaha. It expands from the beginning of the atoms up to the time of Brahma's death. So what is this time period? It is starting of the atoms to Brahma's 100 years lifetime. Brahma's 100 years lifetime is called as Dviparardha. Parardha means 50 years. Brahma had 100 years, so Dviparardha, 2 into 50 years. So our Brahma's current age is Dviparardha has started. 50 years of first part of his life has been finished. The second 50 years has started and we are in the first day of 51st year of Brahma. And it controls all activities, Kalopa Lakshanat. This time frame controls all of the activities and it is Parivartitena, it is always revolving. Abrahma Truna Stambadinam, and spending the lives of living entities from Brahma down to an insignificant blade of grass. Because of this, Vayasa Ramhasa Harata, one changes from infancy to child to youth to maturity, thus one approaches the end of life. That Shadvikara, because of Kala Chakra, happens within us. Therefore, it is impossible to check the wheel of time. This wheel is very exacting because it is personal weapon of the Supreme Lord. Ishwaram Kala Chakra Nijayudam. This is his personal weapon. Nobody can counteract it or obstruct it. Animishato Mishatam Vitrashta Hridayaha. Sometimes the conditioned soul, fearing approach of death, wants to worship someone who can save him from imminent danger. So whenever there is a death symptom, living entities wants to take shelter of somebody who can give him protection. We always see this perspective. Like whenever there is danger, Ravana, he went to various personalities. He prayed for Lord Shiva, but could not get help. It is said that in one Ramayana, it says one specific part, he went to Bali Maharaj, asking for help. He said, you are a demon, I am a demon. We both should be friends. You should help me in conquering Lord Rama. So Bali Maharaj said, no, it is not possible. It is very difficult. But Ravana was very insistent. You have to help me. We are in the same family. So Bali Maharaj said, on one condition I will help you. What is that condition? I will give you a gift. If you can lift this gift and carry to your kingdom, I will accompany you and help you in the war. But if by chance if you fail in the process, you have to forget. So Ravana thought, yeah, this is a good opportunity. I am getting a gift also. And if I become succeeded, Bali Maharaj will also come. So he agreed for the proposal. So Bali Maharaj took Ravana into a room and there he showed him one huge mountain. He said, if you can lift this mountain, and that mountain is made of gold and diamonds. If you can lift this mountain and carry it with you, I will accompany you. So Ravana, he thought, what is this? I lifted Kailasha only. What to speak of this normal mountain? So he went nearby, he started lifting it. Not even an inch he was able to lift from the ground. So after repeated endeavors, after repeated frustration, he became exhausted. He came to Bali Maharaj and he said, what is this? I could not even lift an inch. Then Bali Maharaj took him little far and showed him what it is. It was actually an earring. That earring was of Hiranyakashipu, who was Ravana in his previous life. It was your own earring which you cannot lift right now. When you had such a huge form and when you were killed by Vishnu at that time with such huge form, now with an insignificant form and you want to fight with Lord Rama. Is it making sensible? So in that way, Bali Maharaj scolded him and sent him back. So the perspective is, see, we with our insignificant capacities, we try to estimate the Lord or capacity of the Lord. We think of even conquering the Lord, but it is not possible. And if you have to take shelter from death, only Lord Vishnu can help. Like Durvasa Muni, when he was chased by Sudarshan Chakra, he went everywhere for protection. Nobody could save him. There is one specific pastime even in Ramayana. There was one son of Indra by name Jayanta. For some circumstances, he was cursed to become a crow. Because crows get an opportunity to feed on Shraddha food. So he accepted that form. And he also blessed them because he is accepting the form of the crows. They will be getting an extra strength, extra capacity. So with that capacity, there was one demon sitting in the form of crow. within the body of Jayanta. Because of the demoniac tendency, he went to Mother Sita and he became lusty and he started scratching her body. And she was trying to push him away. At that time, Lord Ramachandra was sleeping on her lap, but this crow was attacking her repeatedly. At one particular point, blood was coming out of her body. So when the drop of blood touched Lord Ramachandra, Ramachandra awoke from his sleep, and when he saw this crow, he became very angry that he is harming his own dear wife, Sita Devi. So next to him, he saw one piece of grass, a truna. He picked up the truna and chanted the mantra and left onto that crow. That truna became a Brahmastra. And this crow went everywhere around the universe for shelter. Nobody could provide him shelter. Finally, it came back and fell down at Ramachandra's feet. Please forgive me, I had done a mistake. Ramachandra said, now, once it is done, because you have come to my shelter, I will protect you. But this Brahmastra had to hit something. Now what it can hit? So he removed one eye of the crows. Not only of that Kakasura, he removed eyes of all the crows. Why is it? It is said that one demon was sitting in the eye of the crow. He had a boon. Unless all the crows lose that eyes, he cannot be killed. So to kill the demon also, Lord gave him an opportunity by removing eyes of all the crows. It is said that even today, the crows will have an eye. One eye is dummy eye. They cannot see through that one eye. It is only through the other eye they can see. This entire information was narrated by Sita Devi when Hanuman went to give Chudamani. That, what is that? Sundarakanda aspect. About this Kakasura, it's a personal pastime, very intimate pastime. So like that, see, these are the technicalities. We thought only Rama is removing one eye of the crow. Not only one crow, he removed for all the crows. For the future generations also. Because in any future, if one more crow comes with the two eyes, the demon might come back. So this is what the plan of the Lord is. The Lord plan are inconceivable for us. So sometimes yet he does not care, anadrutya, for the Supreme Lord, Sakshat Bhagavantam Yajna Purusham, whose weapon is indefatigable time factor. The conditioned soul instead takes shelter of a man-made god, Pakanda Devata, described in unauthorized scriptures, Sanketa Abhidhatte. Vedic scriptures do not refer to them. Arya Samaya Parihritaha. This imminent death is like an attack of a lion, and neither vultures, buzzards, crows, nor heroes can save one from such an attack. One who takes shelter of unauthorized man-made gods cannot be saved from the clutches of death. So, if you take unauthorized shelter, nobody can protect us. Even authorized shelter, other than Supreme Lord, nobody can protect us in this material world. That's why it said, Hare Krishna Rakeke, Rake Krishna Mareke. If Krishna wants to protect, nobody can kill him. But if Krishna wants to kill, nobody can protect him. So there was similar one circumstance in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This was in discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur is known for Namacharya, for preaching the glories of holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acting as if he is an ignorant man, and he was inquiring from Haridas Thakur about the importance of chanting loudly and various perspectives of chanting the holy name. He says, Prithvite Bahu Jiva Stavara Jangama. In this world, there are many living entities. Some are moving, some are stationed. Iha Sabara Ki Prakare Hoive Moshana. So, how these living entities can be delivered? What is the opportunity for all living entities, either moving or non-moving? How they can be delivered? Haridasa Kahe, Prabhu, say Krupa Tomara. My dear Lord, it is only by your mercy these people can be delivered. Stavara Jangama Age Kari Ache Nistara. You have already granted this mercy and delivered them. In the past, you had done this, where? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jharikanda forest. So he made all the plants, animals, trees, everybody danced to his chanting. And you have already delivered, you have set an example by loud chanting. Tumiye kariyache ei uccha sankirtana stavar jangamera se hoyata shravana. So when you chant loudly, all the living entities, either moving or non-moving, you are giving them an opportunity to hear about the holy name of the Lord. And this is the best way how they can also be liberated. Suniya jangamera hoya samsara kshaya stavare shay shabdalage pratidvani hoya. So the moving entities, when they hear this loud sankirtana, have already been delivered from the bondage of this material world. Samsara kshaya. Stavare shay sabbalage pratidvani haya. You hear echo. Echo, where do you hear? Where there are stationed objects. Like mountain caves, in deep forests, you hear echoes. So it is said that they are repeating the sound when you chant. The echo is the lead singer and the followers. So Haridas is saying, you are the lead singer and these plants and trees, they are the followers. They are chanting after you. So in that way, they are also delivered. Pratidvani nahe say karaya kirtana. It is not an echo. They are all repeating your sound. Tomara kripara ye akatya katana. And it is, all this is your inconceivable by your mercy. Sakala jagate hoya uccha sankirtana suniya premavesha nache stavar jangama. So when the entire world there is loud sankirtana, all these living entities moving and non-moving, they dance, responding to your sankirtana. Aiche kaila jharikande vrindavane aite balabhadra bhattacharya kahi achane amat. So how he had performed this pastime while you are traveling to Jharikanda forest? Balabhadra Bhattacharya, your assistant, has explained to me all the technical details, what had taken place while you were on the way. Vasudeva Jivalagi Kaila Nivedana Tabe Angikara Kaila Jivera Mochana. Then Vasudeva Datta had requested you, my dear Lord, please liberate all the living entities. I am ready to suffer on their behalf, because if you feel they are all sinful, they are supposed to suffer, I will suffer on their behalf. But you liberate all these living entities. Jagat nistarite ei tomara avatara bhakta bhava age tate kaila angikara. And your specific form of incarnation is here to liberate all the people. That's why you come to this material world. So just to deliver all the fallen souls of this world, you have accepted this form of a devotee. Uccha sankirtana tate karila prachara stira chara jivera sabha kandaila samsara. You have preached the loud chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, and in this way all are freed from, all living entities, moving and non-moving, are freed from material bondage. Prabhu kahe sabha jiva mukti abe pabe eita brahmanda tabe jiva sunya hobe. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if all living entities are liberated, this entire universe will be devoid of living entities. Haridasa bole tomara yavat martya sthiti tavat stavara jangama sarva jiva jati sabha mukta kari tumi vaikunte pathaiba sukshma jive punah karme udbuddha kariba. He said, my dear Lord, as long as you are situated in this material world, you will send to the spiritual sky all the developed moving and non-moving living entities in different species. Those who have awakened their Krishna consciousness, you will send them. But there are many other living entities who have not yet awakened. So you will fill them with all that living entities in this universe. Not that, don't worry, that this universe will become empty. No. There are many other living entities who are not awakened to Krishna consciousness. You will fill them with all those living entities. Say jiva hobe ihan stavara jangama tahate bariva brahmanda ena purva sama. So as formerly, you will fill them with all those living entities who have not yet accepted Krishna consciousness. So no problem. Never this place will be empty. Purvayena Raghunatha Sabha Ayodhyalana Vaikuntata Kela Anya Jiva Ayodhya Bharana. When Lord Ramachandra went to the Vaikunta world, along with him, all the residents of Ayodhya went away to the spiritual world, it says. They all went into Sarayu river and they all vanished from Sarayu river. So later, people from other places, they came and settled in Ayodhya, and Ayodhya was never empty. It was continuing. In Ramayana, there was a discussion. Then the day before Lord Ramachandra was about to quit, he had installed his sons Lava and Kusha into the kingdom. If Ramachandra is taking away everyone, what is the point of a king, Lava and Kusha, when nobody to rule? So there was one compromise made by Lord Ramachandra. He said certain percentage of people who are all liberated, who are all some age-wise, some factors he had given. So all those people who had qualified, they all went back with Ramachandra. And some people were left over, okay, you continue, Kusha, you have to rule this area. So some people I am leaving you, with that further area will be developed. So most of the living entities went away with Ramachandra and some people were left over and people from other areas came and joined further, so that again Ayodhya was filled. Avatari tumi aiche pati acha hate kehana bujite pare tomara gudanate. You have set a plan in motion by descending to this material world. No one can understand how you are acting. So this is what the Shastra is saying. No one can understand the plan of the Lord. Haridas Thakur is also confirming the same thing. Purvayena vraje Krishna kari avatara sakala brahmanda jivera kandaila samsara. Formerly, when you had appeared as Krishna in Vrindavana, you had liberated all living entities in this universe in the same way. Nachevam Vishmaya Karyo Bhavata Bhagavati Aje Yogeshwareshwara Krishna Yata Yetat Vimochyate. So Bhagavati Aje, oh my dear Lord, you are unborn. Yoga Ishwara, you are the master of mystics, Lord Krishna. Yata Yetat Vimuchyeta, you have delivered everyone, all living entities. Who? Moving and non-moving, everyone. So Nachevam Vismaya Karyo Bhavata, there is nothing which is astonishing in the activities of the Lord, because Lord is all capable. And one more sloka is also there. It says in the Vishnu Purana, although Supreme Lord may be seen, glorified or remembered with an attitude of envy, he nevertheless awards the most confidential liberation, which is rarely achieved by demigods. What then can be said of those who are already engaged in devotional service to the Lord with full love? If somebody is engaged in, even in an envious attitude, Lord is ready to deliver them. The demons, with an envious attitude, they are thinking of the Lord and Lord is delivering them. Then what to speak of devotees with continuous surrender, complete surrender when they had accepted the shelter of the Lord? What to speak of them? Taiche tumi Navadvipe kari avatara sakala brahmanda jivera karila nistara. So similarly, you had appeared in Navadvipa and you had delivered all the living entities. Ye kahe Chaitanya Mahima mora gochara hoya. Say Januku Mora Puna Eta Nishchaya. So if somebody says, I know all the capacity of Lord Chaitanya, he may know whatever he may know, but as far as I am concerned, this is my conclusion. Tomara Ye Leela Maha Amurtera Sindhu. So this pastime is like an ocean of nectar. Amurtera Sindhu. Mora Mano Gocharanahe Tara Eka Bindu. And my mind cannot even grasp even a drop out of that ocean. Your Leela is an ocean. And I can only, maximum I can estimate is a drop of that ocean. Even that drop I am not capable. Yeta suni prabhura mane chamatkara hoila mora guda lila haridase kemane janila. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. How could he understand the confidential meaning of my pastime here? Manera santosha tandra kaila alingana bahya prakashite eisaba karila varchana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him. And he said, do not disclose these details of discussion to anyone. The mood of my pastimes, you have understood it. So only devotees can understand the will of the Lord. And nobody else. Even that will of the Lord also, a partial extent. Unless Lord reveals, we will not get to know what was the intention of the Lord. So there was one devotee, similarly, his name is Dhritarashtra Das. So have you wondered how Prabhupada gave him Dhritarashtra Das? So one day, his friend asked him out of curiosity, Harbol, generally Prabhupada never gives his name. So what is the story behind this? So he was a hippie in US. He was based out of California area, LA. He heard a Swamy had come to LA who was preaching about Indian culture, Vedic culture and all. So he saw a poster about Prabhupada speaking in the Laguna beach. So later when he was sleeping on the beach, he had a dream about Prabhupada and that woke him up. He immediately ran up to the nearby bus station and caught the way to the temple, and he landed to the temple somehow in difficulty. He heard Prabhupada was giving a lecture, he realized that he did not know what Prabhupada is speaking. It does not make sense because first time you are coming to Prabhupada class, it is like he was neither able to make tail or head of the subject. But he stayed with that area because he was all with the hippies. So one of the hippie gave him one book. He said, this book is not, I am not making sense out of this book. You can read this book. And that was first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he took that book and he started reading. When he came to the 13th chapter where he saw Dhritarashtra's liberation, Vidura came and preached Dhritarashtra, and he could understand Dhritarashtra, a person with so much bad habits, in the association of his brother Vaishnava, that he was able to become freed from all these bad habits and he was able to take shelter of liberation. So he became inspired by Dhritarashtra's conversion. If Dhritarashtra get converted, what about me? I can also endeavor. So with that mood, he became very fascinated by Dhritarashtra and Pandavas, how they quit their world and how they went back home, back to Godhead. So in that way, he became very inspired. At the last moment, it said Pandavas and Dhritarashtra, they went to the northern direction when they quit their family life. So he also thought, yes, this is my direction. I will catch the bus which is going to northern direction. I will land up wherever the temple is. So taking that inspiration, he caught some lift and finally he landed in Canada, Vancouver. So after some time, few months or after some time, Prabhupada came there, and because he had a fascination for Dhritarashtra, Prabhupada, understanding his mood, gave him the name Dhritarashtra Das. See? So how the will of the Lord, how the plan of the devotee, how Acharya could understand how all these things can happen. So similarly, there are some points which for us for consideration, some saintly people said. So where to drink water when you don't know? Where will you drink water? It is said that you drink water where horses drink water, because horses drink only pure water. So it is said, put your bed where cat sleeps. It loves calm. Whatever the fruit the worm has touched but not penetrated, it is always looking for the ripe fruit. Plant your tree where the mole digs, for that is fertile land. So a worm has touched that fruit means, it has penetrated means that fruit is very ripe. Like parrots, they eat only sweetest fruit. They don't touch any other thing. So a mole, it's like mole is like a bigger size of rat. They dig holes into the earth. So there you dig, that is the fertile land. And it said, build your house where snake sits to warm himself, for that is a stable ground that does not collapse. Dig to find water where the birds hide from the heat. Wherever the bird stands, the water hides. To go to sleep and wake up at the same time with the birds, that is a quest for success. Means sleep early, wake up early. Birds, evening 7:30, they go to bed. And by 3:34 in the morning, they wake up. So follow the routine with the birds for your good success formula. Eat more vegetables, you will have strong legs and a resistant heart like jungle animals. Swim whenever you find time and you will feel like you are on the land, like fish in water. Look at the sky as much as possible and your thoughts will become bright and clear. Basically, these are positive perspectives for people who are distressed in this material world. Be calm and silent and peace will come to your heart and your soul will be at peace. And for us, all these things have been concluded by chanting holy name. You chant holy name and you will be peace and happy. Chant and be happy. So these are material perspectives. For people to come to Sattva Guna, these are all principles. I am not saying that they are recommendations for everyone. For people to adopt to the Sattva Guna principles, some recommendations are given here. So sometimes Prabhupada was also explaining about his austerities. At one particular point, Prabhupada says, the mood was very sober, but Srila Prabhupada wanted to hear from everyone. He went around the room and asked each devotee what they thought was wrong in the temple. And each person gave their realization and everyone else listened to that realization. And finally Prabhupada spoke. He said, we are all here because he had followed the instructions of his Guru Maharaj and come to the West. And he added with great emphasis, do you think it was easy for me to leave India all alone and come to America? And none of us had ever really thought like that. Whether it was easy or hard, we had just assumed that he had done that by Krishna's mercy. Then he continued, do you think it was easy for me when I was in Butler, Pennsylvania? I opened the refrigerator and there was cat food next to my vegetables. Do you think that was easy? And all the devotees began to cry because they began to understand what Prabhupada did for us. And it wasn't easy. He came from a place where his mother was carried in a palanquin from one house to the other. He was from another culture, almost like another planet. Yet he came to the West with a trunk load of books and 7 rupees. $7 basically. So this is the compassion of Acharyas for all of us. He came from a royal background. Prabhupada says his business was so successful in 1940s, he was supposed to become one of the Tatas and Birlas. Because the will of the Lord, it all became pauper. Suddenly everything vanished. And Prabhupada says, this is the mercy of the Lord. Yasyaham anugranami harishye taddanam shanai. This is the special mercy of the Lord. The first thing on the mercy of the devotee is, he will take away all his opulences. Tato janam tyajanti asya. All his family members will quit him. Swajana dukki dukkidam. Being distressed, the devotee will come and take my complete shelter. This is the special mercy of the Lord. So later, Lord took away from him everything and Lord is still giving to Prabhupada. So all the wealth in all the temples is Prabhupada's now. And still he has been giving. For few years he took, but he has been paying interest for so many years now. So because the Lord also knew, the devotees don't use for any, not even a pie for their personal sense gratification. These again used for the service of the Lord which reaches everyone outside. So that's why Lord also blesses the devotee with unlimited wealth, who are not attached to that perspective. So sometimes we don't understand the will of the Lord and we try to blame the circumstances, we try to blame the Lord, we try to blame the situations. No. For the devotee, the Lord is in complete control. He knows what is best for us and he delivers accordingly. Simply, the principle is accept the will of the Lord and execute the mission. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts?
Here, will of the Lord as a common man. So, unless until we surrender to spiritual master, we cannot know the will of the Lord. Generally, when you meet people, whatever business they are doing, it may be as per the scriptural injunctions, whatever business they are supposed to do. They may be opening a wine shop, but still they say that it's my duty that I am doing, expanding and gaining money. It's Lord's will. There, they are already against the Lord's will, that they are doing sinful activity. But here in the case of Pandavas, they are already following the will of the Lord since the childhood. But still, why they are facing a lot of problems where they are already executing the will of the Lord?
So there, it is the same question was put forward by Narada Muni to the Lord Krishna himself. In Nectar of Devotion, this aspect comes. So where it said, the explanation given was, Lord wanted to give an example to the whole world. So the sincerity of the devotees at whatever circumstances, even they are tried, trusted, they will never lose their confidence in the Lord. They are setting an example. Even though you may be bombarded with situations, never lose your faith in the Lord. So Lord was setting an example through his devotees. So the example for us, that's what this purport also says. Pandavas are an example to the whole world. They are not suffering their past misdeeds. It is the will of the Lord. They are eternal associates who came from the spiritual world. Like Prabhupada, he struggled for 2-3 years in the US. Sometimes it was so difficult for him to pay the rent, it seems. There was one memory by one devotee, family couple. So 3 months they were due in the rent. $600 they had to pay. And if you don't pay by tomorrow evening, they will be vacated. They have to vacate because advance is there for 3 months. So everybody were thinking, at that time devotees were not working. The whole day they will be used to chanting. 64 rounds they have to chant. To chant that itself from morning till night and participate in Nagar Sankirtan. That was the service in the temple. So they were thinking, now they were all praying to the Lord. Now if you don't, we are all back on the road. Prabhupada will be back on the road. Not they. They had some apartments. But Prabhupada will be back on the road. How? Oh, my dear Lord, please help us, please help us. So while they were thinking like that, and they were, after finishing the temple program, and they were walking towards the home, they saw on the road $600 bills placed on the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, in some 20-30 feet distance, they saw $600. Or maybe some $700 or something. They picked up all the notes and they went and paid the rent. So you have faith in the Lord, Lord will provide, because He is the one who is maintaining all of us. What is there? So He is creating a situation where we will increase our faith in the Lord. Prabhupada never concerned, Prabhupada never prayed, please supply me money. Pure devotees will never pray to the Lord. But that mood is for the devotees, other devotees to realize how do we have to be completely dependent upon the mercy of the Lord. So that is an example for all of us to learn. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद।
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి